Hey everyone, welcome to another video. This video is going to be about the brands that I want to try in 2022. I always do. Well, I haven't been on YouTube for that long, but I did a video like this last year. Also looked back on that video if I actually did it. And I also told you that I want to do a video like this again. So this is that video. Let's get right into it. So I have a list of brands here. And I have to say that it was kind of difficult to come up with this list because actually in this month, in the last few months, this month, I have been trying a lot of brands that could have been on my list, but I ordered something from them because I was just in a mood to try some new things. I said that I didn't really want it in my Will I Buy It, but I did try some new things. So a lot of brands that could have been on the list, I kind of had to scratch off, and now I had to think of some new things because I tried Nomad Cosmetics, the brand from the 669 palette, in a recent video. This is the look I did with it. I will link it down below and put it in the eye. I also tried an Earthly Cosmetics. That's also a brand that's on my list. I also ordered something from McGrath. There are a few different brands where I did my first order, where I got my first order from, so that made it a little bit more difficult, but I got some brands, I got some ideas, I got some things I want to try. So let me just grab my list. The first brand that I want to try is Bperfect Cosmetics. This is a brand, they come out with quite a lot of releases. They do those very big, colorful carnival palettes that always look amazing, but a little bit too big for me. And recently they came out with these Scorch blushes and highlighters, and those look so good. I love baked blushes, I love baked highlighters. They have some really beautiful shades in them, and I'm really eyeing the brand, and I want to try some things because I have heard some good things about the eyeshadow formula, but I just want there to be the perfect color story. There is this one eyeshadow palette that I've always been eyeing. It's like this neutral palette with a pop of green, and was there purple in there as well? But every time I see that palette, I'm like, ooh, I kind of want to try it. They had it on a very steep discount for Black Friday, but I was like, you bought enough. You bought enough. Calm down. Just calm down a little bit and buy it at a moment that is convenient for you. So I'm still kind of eyeing that palette. I'm eyeing those blushes. I'm eyeing the highlighters. I really actually want to try this brand, but I don't really know how I'm gonna make that into a video, what exactly I want to do. If I just want to wait for a new release that really speaks to me and buy that and try that, and maybe buy a few other things as well to try. But I definitely want to try those highlighters, and I just hope that there's gonna be an eyeshadow palette that's up my alley, that is my style. So yeah, pretty interested in this brand. I don't know if it's the most exciting brand ever. I don't know if this is gonna be my new favorite brand, but at least I want to know what it's about. I want to know if I like this formula, and I do have a feeling that those highlighters are gonna be for me because I, like I said, really love baked cheek products. They almost always work for me, so that's also why I want to try those. The next brand on my list is actually Sigma. This is a brand people always rave about their eyeshadow formulas. Well, not everyone, because there are also people that think it's a little bit overhyped, but they have very sparkly shimmers and they have some interesting color stories. I really like the format that their palettes come in, like those 12 pans. Really like those. I usually quite like the look of their releases, but for some reason I never pull the trigger. For some reason I never go for it and actually buy it. So I want to do that this coming year. I just want to know what the eyeshadow formula is about, especially now that I'm on YouTube. I just want to have the knowledge. I just want to know what eyeshadow formulas are good and which aren't. I want to know what I can recommend to you, and I think this is a very interesting brand. They come out with some interesting releases, they have some pretty color stories, and I have a feeling that I will like the eyeshadow formula. The actual best release I think for me that they have come out with was a Cinderella palette, but once again it didn't really feel like the right moment to buy that. It didn't really feel like the right thing to do at that moment, because I also bought the Giant Wolves palette by Oden's Eye and Annette's Makeup Corner, and I felt like that was a really similar color story, and I don't really feel like buying similar color stories in 1 month. It might happen that a few months later I buy something a little bit similar, but I just don't want to end up with all similar eyeshadow palettes at one moment and then going crazy, because I keep doing the same looks and I have to do the same looks to try them out. So I'm actually really interested in this brand. I really want to know, but there just hasn't been the right moment to do that. So that's why it's going on my list. I'm really gonna focus on it and try and find a release that is for me. I don't like forcing myself to buy something that I don't like just to try the brand. That's not something I do. So it also doesn't mean that I'm gonna try all these brands for sure, but at least I wanna pay some attention to it. And the next brand on my list is Nomad Cosmetics. They always come out with very beautiful palettes, very beautiful color stories. I am really interested in this brand. I also think their shimmers in their palettes always look very good. This is kind of like the same story as Sigma. They came out with their Halloween release. I believe it was like Spooky Europe, something like that. It looked so cool. I love that color story, but that was around the time that everyone and anyone was releasing these grungy, Halloween inspired, fall inspired color stories and eyeshadow palettes, and I didn't feel like buying everything, and I just had to make some choices. So I decided not to get the Nomad Cosmetics palette as well at this moment. But if it had been another time with different palettes, with other palettes being released at the same time, I probably would have bought it. I always kind of have to see what releases are the most exciting to me and make some choices. So it is a brand that I really want to try, but I just have to see when it will be the right time and the right moment. But I'm definitely keeping an eye on them. I'm also just eyeing indie brands. I'm just really interested to see what indie brands are about, if they are good. It's really a part of makeup that I get excited about. It's also what you see on my channel a lot. So yeah, that's the story with that one. Definitely keeping an eye out for this brand. Then the next brand on my list is Beaute. They recently changed their eyeshadow formula. I was always very interested in their color stories. I was always very interested in their palettes in a way, but I had heard that their formula was a little bit hit and miss. Not everybody loved it, and I was too scared to actually go for it and buy something. But since they are reformulated, I'm now like, maybe it's time to try something, because there is a way they put colors together that I really love, and they do some very interesting colorful color stories. So I might pick something up from this brand if they come out with a color story that is really up my alley, especially since I heard so many people say that their new formula is so much better. And always before I try a new brand, I want to hear some reviews and I want to see what other people think. I don't want to try a brand where most people are like, it's not that good. So now I'm just waiting for the right release. It's also a pretty easy brand to get for me, so that's also always a good thing. Next on the list is a little bit of a random one. I don't know if I would end up actually picking something up, but this is a brand that kind of caught my eye. It is a brand that I might or might not pick up one thing from. It's a bit of a maybe on this list, and this brand is definitely on here because of Hannah Louise Poston. She did a video talking herself out of buying makeup, and she kind of talked me into wanting some makeup that I didn't know existed before. That's always the risk. But she was showing these lipsticks by Gucci, these matte and shiny lipsticks in different colors, in different beautiful nude shades with different undertones, and I loved how they looked. Everything that she showed in the video looked so amazing, and this is a brand that's pretty easy for me to get. I believe I can just order it from a Dutch web shop, from a Dutch store, so I might, if I feel like it. If I really don't know if that's gonna happen, but there is a small chance if I see another video about these Gucci lipsticks that I'm gonna buy one. that I'm gonna try one, because they look different. There was something about those undertones that just looked different. I don't know if that actually is the case or that they just know how to photograph lips and lipsticks so well, but I am very intrigued. I don't even remember what the names were. I don't even remember which ones I love the look of, but if I see a video about this brand, if I see anyone talk about this, I'm definitely gonna pay attention. Then the next brand on my list is Vieve Cosmetics, and the fact that this one is on my list is definitely caused by Brit Clark. She always does videos about Vieve and she always raves about them. She says they are such an underrated brand, and I have seen more people using the blushes, using different things, using lip liners, eyeshadow palettes. I think it's a very interesting brand with a very interesting vibe. I was planning to buy their newest eyeshadow palette release. I thought it looked very good at first, but when I looked at it a little bit more up close, I realized that there wasn't that much variation in the palette. There were a few matte shades that had pretty similar undertones, and then there were only 3 shimmers. And as you might know, I'm a shimmer girl. I love shimmer. I like to have all the variation when it comes to shimmers, and shimmers, good shimmers, are what make a palette worth it to me. So I realized that that wasn't going to be the palette for me and that I shouldn't buy it just to try the brand. So it really depends with this brand what they are gonna come out with, because I have seen some things that I really like, but I'm just kind of waiting for another palette to be released that is really my thing, and then maybe add a blush into the order or a lip product, something like that. I am curious about this brand, but I don't want to buy something that I'm almost sure of isn't gonna be for me, especially if it is a brand that is a bit more expensive. So I'm definitely interested, but it's not like I'm gonna buy from them no matter what. That's not really my style. That's not really what I like to do. I also already have so many brands that I do videos on, so I don't really need a lot more staple brands. But of course I want to be well versed in different brands. I want to know. I just want to be able to tell you. I feel like we're going through this list pretty quickly, but of course I'm just telling you what I wrote down, and I'm just telling you my reasons. So next up on the list is Pixi. I've never tried anything from Pixi. They have been around for quite some time and they are pretty easy for me to get. I've heard some people rave about them, but I've never really bought something. I've never really gone for something. I was eyeing those Glossomer, I believe, those Glossomer highlighting duos that people were raving about. I think a year or two ago people were really into those. They are like this baked gelée formula. That's a formula that I really love. Usually when I try something baked gelée, I'm like in love with it. There's something about the glow of those products and the way they blend into the skin that is really something that I love. I love really smooth, thin formulas, and I think that that duo would be something like that and that I would really love it, but I just never went for it. And I've also heard Angelica rave about this kind of peachy vitamin C glowy cheek product that also looks very good. So it's a brand that I'm always a little bit confused about, because they look kind of cheap with that light green packaging. It looks very drugstore, but then in the end they are a bit more expensive than I would like to pay for the look and the vibe that they give me. So I guess that is mainly the reason why I never really went for it. I think if I would buy something from them, it would probably be like a highlighty glowy cheek product or something like that. But also those duos, those highlighting duos, they are like 22 euros, something like that. I think it's a bit on the expensive side. I don't really know if I would end up buying a new release, because their new releases usually don't really excite me, but maybe one of those highlighters. On the other hand, I do have so many highlighters and I'm planning to buy more highlighters. There are enough highlighters in my collection, so do I really need to? But it's possible. There's a possibility there that I might try something. And then last on the list is a brand that I've bought one thing from. I haven't even really touched it. I haven't put it on my cheeks. But I recently bought a Pat McGrath highlighter, and I have very high hopes for that one. I just have to take some time. And really sit down to do my makeup and really just play with some different things, play with some new things. I'm also a little bit behind with my new makeup ranking. So I recently bought something from this brand, but I'm kind of thinking about trying something else. And that I'm specifically talking about the eyeshadows. I kind of want to know if these are comparable to indie, if they are more special than indie, less special than indie. I've heard some people really love Pat McGrath, and I've heard some people say that it's not worth it. So I kind of want to try the Blitz Astro shades, and I kind of am eyeing a Blitz Astro Quad, so to just try that very special shimmer formula to see if it is really that special. But it's a pretty expensive brand, so I don't know if that's really gonna happen, what I'm gonna do with that. I also was kind of eyeing the new release with Bridgerton, the new collab with Bridgerton and Pat McGrath. They have a pretty interesting cheek trio in there. It looks pretty interesting, but I don't know if it looks interesting enough for me to go through the hassle to get all stressed and to try and get it on launch day, because I think that a lot of people are gonna want to try this collab because it's Bridgerton, like one of the most popular series on Netflix, I believe, and it is Pat McGrath. Last time with the Star Wars collection, it was one big mess, and I am trying to not get stressed out about makeup. I don't think it's worth it, and it happens a lot that I kind of want something, but I know it's gonna be a stressful release, and because of that I decide not to go and get it. Because releases where you know there isn't enough, a lot of people are excited, you have to be on the website 10 minutes before, and then you refresh, and once it's on the website it's like, oh my god, what? You're just stressing out, and your brain stops working, and you have to click so fast, and in the meantime things are disappearing from your basket. Thinking about it now, I'm already like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I only do that for very special releases. I don't know if this is gonna be special enough for me to go through that. It's a lot of stress. I don't need that in my life. I definitely don't need that in my life. I don't know how you feel about that, but sometimes it kind of scares me away. So yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna try and get that one. Maybe I would wait. I feel like she's gonna do more cheek trios, and that there's gonna be something for me probably later on in the year. So yeah, I would like to try some things from the brand just to know if it's worth it, just to know if it's the same as indie. And I've been kind of thinking about doing a Pat McGrath versus indie video. I don't know if those videos have been done too much already. Just been kind of thinking about it because there are just so many different opinions out there, and I don't know who to believe sometimes. And then that's gonna be everything for all the brands I want to try in the coming year. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe, and also let me know in the comments what are brands that you are planning to try the coming year in 2022, and then I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.